Dominic Rubin with Sales and Technology Consultants. I am Salesforce trainer, and I am going to jump into Salesforce, and we're going to learn admin essentials, just some basic stuff, right? So we already did a lot of these. Sorry you caught it late. I have plenty of videos up here if you want to do it. Let's go to this little project. Oh, this could be killer. Again, I'm not feeling great. I got some COVIDousness happening. COVIDous. So I gotta fix. I'm vain. I'm still vain. I gotta get my hair right. All right. So I have no idea if I even have the right, or we're just gonna figure it out together. You know why? Because it's just Trailhead, folks. So creating a validation rule. This is the great thing about data quality. So one of the things you want to know, improving data quality is important because people are weird about data. And if the data is wrong, it just has all kind of negative effects, right? So dirty data messes people up. Mostly your salespeople, right? It could be incomplete, inconsistent, outdated, duplicated, or has errors or different formats. Somebody's typing in all caps, somebody's typing in all lowercase, somebody's doing a mix of both. You know, it's really hard to get people to believe the data if it's not consistent. So that's really the important part about the data, is to really make it consistent so that people will believe it and they will find a way, so they can trust it, because, people have trust issues with data. Have you been around this year with COVID-19? Just look at the stats. It's January the 4th, and people are still weird about the data. And I don't care what side you are on it. Just know that that's the case with data, right? So, it wastes time. It builds mistrust. So one of the things you can do, is first and foremost, really set up somebody in your organization to be the data steward. It's their job. It's their accountability to monitor and manage the data. And then you can actually build in processes, procedures, training, coaching, and leaders get in there and really make sure that your people are creating good data. Will you, please? Okay. So you can also do this with validation rules. So validation rules just prevents people from putting in bad data. Now, what you'll find is that your users will really force bad data into your system. They will. They don't mean to. They just do. And, it's really frustrating to the data steward and all those involved. But it is, and that's where the training, coaching, and then leadership. So I always say it starts with a training conversation, right? And then it's you make sure that people have they get the training, so they have a baseline understanding of what's expected, how to use the tool, how the tool works, all those things. But if that doesn't work, then you have to engage coaching, right? And that really has to come from their frontline supervisor. If it doesn't, if the frontline supervisor is not on top of the data doing their part, then it's a leadership issue and really an HR issue, right? So HR has got to get involved ultimately, right? Because it's called Salesforce, not Sales Ask. So you have to get your people, leaders included, have to get engaged and value that data is important and the quality of data matters. And if you don't, if you blow it off, if the leaders blow it off, you might as well cancel Salesforce and just let it run. Just run amok. You're already running amok with something that could bring sanity to your entire organization. But if you don't want to do that as a leader, stop allowing it, because what you permit, you promote. So don't permit bad data. Let's talk about validation rules, right? So it sets up business criteria to prevent users from setting up invalid data in one or more fields. And it's different than a required field, because a required field makes that field available to everybody on every page layout in every case, because when you save any record, that field is required, so it has to be editable by any user accessing that record. So, it really is important in order to have quality data to use the right kind of data quality tools. So validation rules are a great way because, I'll give you a great example of one that I think is really appropriate to sales. So let's say a salesperson puts the opportunity in the proposal stage. And if you're on professional or above, you're like, well, there's no proposal attached. There's no quote attached. There are no products attached. How is that possible? How can you be at the proposal stage if you haven't clearly identified and communicated what products are you proposing? Another one is, can you close win a deal if there's no contact roles? I doubt it. Why? Because somebody has to say yes to that opportunity, and who, other than a contact at that company, could say yes to it. So there has to be a contact associated with an opportunity, at least one, if not more, and that's good sales management. We'll talk about that in another series. So, all right. So it evaluates a formula upon save. So nothing happens until a record is saved, and a validation rule only happens after the record is saved. And the way you write validation rules is so that they are true. When they become true, that triggers an action. True always triggers an action. And in Salesforce, for a validation rule, that means it triggers the corrective action. Hey, that doesn't meet our business rules, so you can't save the record. You got to fix the mistake. So it triggers a warning in this case, right? So, and please, when you write your error messages, write them human to human, write them to the audience that's creating the error. Don't write them like you're an IT person. So IT people, listen to me. Ask somebody what would a human say? What would a salesperson say? What is the lingo of your company? Not what's the right words, but what are the right words for your culture and your organization, okay? So, all right, so you want to improve data quality by applying those conditions. So if the stage is proposal and products equal blank, and that's not the right syntax, but you get my point, right? Then that triggers the corrective action. Okay, so so now we're saying that the VP of Sales, Allison Wheeler, wants deliveries for opportunities to be scheduled within 2 weeks after an opportunity stage changes to close one. Why? Because that's part of your commitment to your customers. Now, I will say this, that for you guys in sales ops, you admins out there that are trying to get it right, there's several people you want to include in all of your design: marketing, sales, customer service, operations, right? Because all of them in that dynamic play a part of keeping your promise to the customer. That's integrity. And if you don't act with integrity, and you don't save your data with integrity, how are you going to act with integrity? So we're going to create a custom field first called delivery scheduled date. And then first thing I want you to do is go down here. I'm not doing the admin superset. I'm going to go, let's see if that one's going to be the one. And all right, so we're going to go through and then we're going to jump in and let me launch that org. Now I'm going to do a little trick here where I pull out my Trailhead, and I'm working on one screen. So, if you're working on one screen, you do that to the left, pop that one to the right. There we go. Is that going to move any smaller? Oh my goodness. Okay, so we're gonna have to work on a really small screen. I apologize. For some reason, this isn't making itself smaller. Okay, so I'm gonna go to my cog in the wheel, and this is just an easy way to be able to see what you're doing, follow the steps, make it really easy. So we are going to go to the opportunity object. So object manager, step 2. You could click on opportunity or you could type it first. I like typing it just to show you, remind you how that works. Go to fields and relationships. We'll click new. We're going to do a date field. Make sure I get that all copied correctly. Whoops. Copy that. This is going to be a date field. I'll scroll and then click next. I'm going to call this. I like cutting and pasting. It's really a good idea, by the way. Now, look, one quick lesson. You should always put a description in there. And I'll tell you what. It's called CYA, Cover Your Admin. And so this one was at the request of Allison Wheeler. Right? I'm just typing in there. When is the delivery? Now I'm doing this so that you could see. You should always put a description in there. The reason is you'll forget, and you think you won't, but you will. Why? Because you're a human, and humans forget, and that's a little bit of light, not a lot. That's a little bit. So this is you're telling your future self, no one else, why you're doing what you're doing. So do it. And then we're going to make it read only for everybody, but the standard user and system administrator. So the standard user, which by the way, you would never use a standard user profile. You know that, right? That is just a template to get started with. Take all the delete permissions away because no one should delete. It's a CRM. We're going to leave it on all of those and click save. And now we're going to create a validation rule on the opportunity object. So whenever someone saves an opportunity record, the validation rule will check. All right, so we're going to call this rule. We're going to create a new rule. And although I copied it with the underscores, note that if you just typed it in, the underscores would show up. And we're going to go there. Now, some of you are going to be good at formulas. Some of you are not. You know what I say to you guys? If you're not good at formulas, you're going to wrestle with them all the time. If you are good at formulas, give me a call because I'm not. I love people who are good at formulas. I'm not. So we want to insert the value, the formula, right? So over here, it's we're looking for the pick list value of the stage, even though it's not a true pick list, it's a more robust field than that. We're going to do that. So we're going to go to is pick value, right? And we're going to insert that function. And then we're going to pick the field that we're looking at. And now you have to do the text. We're going to insert the field stage. So on the opportunity record, we're going to look for the stage. So notice the fields are on the right. And every one of these little, in Louisiana, we used to call them gators when we were kids. I remember in first or second grade, public school, taught us to call them alligators because that gator come at you. That's a greater problem than anything you got when a gator come at you, as we say in Louisiana. So it goes to that field. Notice there's an account field here, which would bring up all of the related fields on the account. We're not using those, but just know that that's what those are. Right? If you've never done this before, it's your first time watching it. So we're going to go to the stage and insert that field. So notice it inserted the stage name. I got to take away the little template piece. I thought I had it highlighted. Clearly I wasn't. And then I'm just going to list at the text literal. I'm going to copy that. It's got to be in quotation marks. It's always a good idea if you know you're writing a validation rule to go and copy that text first. To have those things cut in your clipboard, already. Does that make sense? Okay. Can I make this a little bigger? Maybe you can see it, maybe you can't. I'm gonna try to get it down where you can. Okay, so my first value is the stage name closed one? And so that's true. We wouldn't want, and if we saved it right now, all that would do is prevent us from saving a record every time we close one a deal, and that's not good. So we also want to insert an operator, and we want to insert the operator and. So we don't type in the word and, we type in 2 ampersands. Now they don't have to be in order. You can put them on a different line, whatever makes sense to you. All right, so why is that like that? So we're also going to put insert the operator, and I'm going to insert my new field, delivery schedule date. And then I'm going to subtract that date, right? We got to do math. I hate this math, but we got to do math nonetheless. So we're subtracting the date that's in the field minus the delivery date, right? The delivery schedule date. The delivery schedule date minus the close date. We're going to insert the field, close date, and then insert out. Now, could you type these in? Of course, right? And then that is greater than 14. So that's going to trigger an error. So if it's greater than 14 days, which breaks our promise to the customer, there's no reason why we should deliver greater than 14 days. Boom, right? Now we need to check the syntax to see does that make sense to the computer, because computers are dumb. We want to make sure there's no errors found, right? And now we need to put in an error message. Now, this causes a particular problem, right? Because there are going to be exceptions to the rule all the time. I don't know what that. I don't know what that beeping noise is. Okay, so now we got that, and now we got to decide where we want that, and we're going to put it at the field level. So the delivery schedule date is where we want to put that, and then we'll hit save. So now I'm going to verify that. You can also test it, right? You always want to test it. Could do that. We're just going to go with the instructions because that is our test. And 100 days of Trailhead. You know, you will get good at this if you just do it every day. You'll immerse yourself in the language of Salesforce, which is really the hardest part of taking the test for you guys that are really working on it. So let's tackle the next step. Create a formula field. I hate formula fields. For those of you guys that like it, email me, Dominic@salesandtechnology.com. Okay. All right. So let's scoot this over this way, and let's read what it is. So creating a formula field. So the thing about formula fields are they count. They don't. The field itself does not store any data. It only stores a formula, which then calculates when the record runs. So it's a runtime field is one of the technical terms for it. Please, in the comments, put anything if I got it wrong. It's a runtime field. And let's see if anybody's got any comments going on. I've never, this one.
Essentials, just some basic stuff, right? So,
nope, wait, that's just noisy.
Okay. There's a formula, which then calculates when the record runs. So it's a runtime field is one of the technical terms for it. Please, in the comments, put anything about that.
All right, so if we got any chatting going on, that's pretty confusing. Welcome. Okay, good. All right, so we just, you know what, look, we're rocking and rolling, trying something new, trying to create some content for you guys. All right, so remember that they don't store the data. A formula field does not store the data. It stores the formula and then calculates the data whenever that record shows up in a search, a list view, or a report. So if that record meets the criteria of a search, a list view, or report, or you open the record because you open the record, it will calculate that field, and then you can see that record. So we want to, and the output is read only, right? Because it's not data; it's just the result of the calculation of data. So anyway, so now Allison Wheeler, who's the VP of Sales, has another keep it tidy task for you. She wants all opportunities to show the annual revenue of the account on the opportunity, right? so that you know, you don't have to switch back to the account and do what I call a click and refresh. A click and refresh takes time. It's annoying, and you're not giving your users the data they need at their when they need it, where they need it, right? So it's part of that 360 model that you want to give your users what they need. So we're going to create a field on the opportunity called the account annual revenue. And this field is actually called a cross object formula field. So if you haven't taken the test yet, because we're creating a formula that displays data, it's like a lookup field, except it's not a lookup field, right? A lookup field actually stores the link to the related record, whereas a formula field merely displays the data that you brought into from the formula from another object or two. Really, it could be any of those things. But here we are. We're in the opportunity. Sorry. We want to display that field. Let's see if I have it here. So we're going to create a new field. And we're going to select the formula field. Now notice there are a couple that seem like formulas, but they're not. Auto number and roll-up summary. Those are actually stored data fields. So an auto number is going to show, you know, quote 001, 002, 003. It's going to store that data. It's going to count, add a number to it, and then store that data. A roll-up summary, anytime a record, one of the child records of a parent is changed, it's going to automatically update that roll-up summary. So if you add or remove contacts, add or remove opportunity values, those kind of things. And it's going to change and display the most up-to-date data from the last time a child was done. Whereas a formula only stores the formula. That's all. So in this case, we're going to pick a currency field because we want the account annual revenue, right, is in currency. That makes sense, right? So I know there's a lot of other ways you can display it. We're going to click next. And now we're going to go on the advanced formula tab because we're going to do a complex. We have to, you know, the simple formula works on the object that you're creating the formula field. And advanced formula allows you to go to any related object. Pretty simple, huh? All right, so we're going to select the field. Remember, we looked at this before. So we want to look at the account record. We want to bring that data from the related object, the account, and we want that to display. So we go find it at the account record. Here's our opportunity. There's a related account, not the account ID, but all the fields on the account. So we can pull in all that related data. And we want to insert that. Is that not going to let me because of my... I got to pick that little guy. I'm running out of screen space on my little 13-inch monitor. It's really sad. Here we go. I'm going to insert that. My account annual revenue. Let me bring it back up a little bit. You can see it. It's tough to see, I know. And it's going to be even harder. I have no idea how this is looking. Okay? So all we're doing is putting in that field. We're saying, hey, we're displaying the account annual revenue on an opportunity page. That's it. That's what we're doing. And you don't need a help text because it's read only. Nobody's entering into it. So we're going to next. We're going to leave it visible for everybody in our field level security. Remember, you set field level security right here in the wizard. We're going to put it on all the opportunity page layouts and hit save. And then now we can verify that step. So when we look at an opportunity, we can see the account revenue. And it helps us understand how much is this company doing relative business with us and our opportunity amount relative to how much business they do in the world. It's pretty cool. I'm pretty sure that's going to work. Let's tackle the next step. Oh, my back is killing me. It's been a rough New Year. Oh, here we go. I know. Let's see if anybody's on the live. I doubt that I have 0 followers on my live right now. But hopefully this will help us grab some followers. Okay, now we're going to create a lookup filter. Now, why is this awesome? Because okay, I looked around. You know, the delay really can mess you up. So we're going to create a lookup filter. Why do you need a lookup filter? Well, when I'm looking up a lookup, remember a lookup is like a dynamic pick list value. So you're dynamically choosing from another table of data, which we call objects. You're dynamically picking from another table of data. So I'm picking from an account to pick a business name instead of typing it in manually or having to maintain a static list of values, which is always a good idea. But the problem is there could be a lot of home, let's just say, because we're in the home of Home Depot, let's say you sell to Home Depots all across the country. And when your reps are pulling and they sell to the individual stores, well, when they go to create an opportunity and pick the account that they're selling to, because you have a territory and all of your Home Depots, all 21, I don't know, over 2,000 of them, all the store locations are already accounts. You don't want a rep to pick the wrong account. It messes up all the accounting and the bookkeeping and the who made what sale to whom and where's the commissions go and all that other problem. So, maybe let's say simple example is you might do your territories by zip code. So, or you might have some other field that designates that these are my accounts, right? I'm the account owner, so I can only pick a Home Depot account where I'm the owner if I'm selling to them, right? Or I'm on the team if I'm creating it as a sales assistant or something. So it's important to make sure that you help your users by limiting their choices to the best right choices. It's like putting up guardrails for a bowler, right? So they can keep from throwing their stuff away. All right. So we're going to filters is keep things free of junk. So you're preventing your user from picking a wrong answer, or at least from a smaller set of only rightish answers where they can pick the ones that are in their zip codes and those kind of things, right? It's just like I tell all my students when I'm training the admin class. Look, the simple way to pass the test is just don't pick any of the wrong answers. Just pick right answers, which sounds, kind of flippant until you realize how right I really am. If you can discern the wrongest answers and eliminate them as a choice, you increase your odds of choosing the right answer. And that's important when taking the test. So the more you engage with Salesforce, the more you practice what you see here, not just run through these little steps. Because if you run through the steps, you're not going to remember it because there's no stickiness to it, right? So you got, when you take a practice test, or if you take the questions on, in the Trailhead, go do it. Go do it in the org. Don't just leave it here. We're getting a chance to do it. All right, so we're going to go to our case object. In this tab, yep, I can totally. We'll go to fields and relationships. And I'm going to just add a filter to an existing field that's a lookup field. Now, I know you can't see it, so let me move this over here. Right? So in my, right, you can see I've got lookup fields. And if I want to look at all my lookup fields, anytime you have lookup fields, you can add lookup filters. So you can limit the choices of that other object based on any criteria you put in that formula. It might be the zip code, the address, those kind of things, right? And that's, again, why does data matter? Because it helps people make better choices. Good data helps people make better choices. Hopefully you learned that in 2020. Okay, so now we're going to go to the contact name, and we're going to hit that edit. So we're going to go to contact name, and we're going to edit that field. I think I've already done it. Okay. Yeah, this one I've already done because, you know, I've done this stuff before. So what we want to do is in our lookup fields, right? I'm going to hide, we got the filter settings, lookup filter, filter settings. So take your time, read the screen. My ADD mind, one of the skills that I've learned is, you know, in life is to slow down. You know, there's no rush. Get it right. Some of you need to speed up, but ADD folks need to slow down. And, you know, take the time, read the screen, let it soak. It's a crock pot learning this stuff, not a microwave. So take your time. Now, so the contact name, so if you click this little lookup, here's how this little guy works, right? So remember these, I have case fields, contact name fields, the current user fields, the current user profile, and the current user role. So these have to do with your user, right? If you want to validate against that. But in this one, with the contact name, and all we want to look for is the account ID. That's the field we're looking for. We don't need anything else on the account, you know, those kind of things. So the account ID, we want to insert that. And we want the account ID to equal the case account ID. See that over here? Okay. Now there's another way to do it. And you can see, instead of hitting a little lookup lollipop, I like to call it. See it over there? I can start typing in the field. So case, and then it's gonna show me all of the case fields, right? All of the account ID. So that's what we want it to match. We want that to match. So we want one field on the contact that has a lookup value of the account ID, along with the case account ID, because a case is always associated with a contact, and a contact is always associated with an account. I know there's some exceptions. Don't give me any crazy comments. We could live our life fighting for the exception, but the rule is people that you're selling to typically have an account, even if it's a person account. Okay, so this is great. So want to make sure that this is enabled so that it's active, and then the filter is required, not optional. Right now, the default message. The value does not exist or does not match the filter criteria, you might want to put something human, like the contact must be picked from the same account as the case record. Right, there you go. Just a really simple message that explains to the user what's going on. Okay? So we added a filter. We're limiting the choices, right? So let's verify that. You're limiting the user's choice to the most right answer. Oh my goodness. We're going to verify that step. So again, we looked at data quality, and beyond just, you know, these things. Look at that. Next one. So we looked at validation rules, lookup filters. What was the other one we did? We did, and we use a formula field, right, to show people what the data is, so they don't have to add it, you know. And then again, makes it also easier for reports and stuff too. You know, it sets up a little simplicity in your report. You have those cross-object formula fields. So makes your data table a little, makes your data set for reporting a little cleaner. There's a lot of reasons why that's the case. All right. So now we're going to talk about process builder, right? So we're going to create a process that if data it gets updated in one place, maybe you want it to be updated in several other places. So your first inclination might be, well, just train the users to do it. Well, as a veteran trainer of over 20 years, I can tell you, telling ain't training, and you got to inspect it to see if it's happening, right? So if you can automate little things that you're asking your user to do so they can only do it in one place, they only have to do it in one place, so it makes it easier for them. They'll be more productive, they'll be more satisfied, they'll be happier, right? So So like, you know, maybe a closed won deal always initiates a certain contract, and that contract is always the same for the types of products. And from the data you collected, right? So you already have the data. Why make people manually go click when you can just pull all that in and make it happen? Make it happen, Captain. So you can apply a specific value, make a value blank, calculate a value based on all the criteria you set in your process builder, right? So it improves data quality by reducing manual data entry and keeping the data in sync. So it also makes it really critical for earlier data to be more accurate, because salespeople will learn the hard way that if they don't pay attention to the address and the names and all that kind of stuff, when they go print a contract, the customer's not going to sign it. The manager's not going to approve it, hopefully, right? The ops is going to kick it back because it's not accurate. And then they got to go back and correct it. You got to make them go back and correct. Don't do it for them. You got to have a little pain to ingrain the training. So Allison requests that the opportunity stage automatically updates the qualification when all tasks for the prospecting stage are complete. So if that means if they've entered all the data that they normally do to qualify somebody, they gather all that data. Once they hit save, it automatically changes the stage to qualification, right? So we add some custom fields, right? So on our opportunity, we're going to add a field, a checkbox field. I don't know why I changed it. Let's go back here. See something. Can I go back? I can. Nope, it's case. Oh, what am I doing? So many clicks. So many clicks, so not necessary to do all that. Okay, opportunity. We're going to go to fields and relationships, and let's go back to this size of the screen. And we're going to create a checkbox field, right? So this is saying, hey, I did it. Check, check. All right. And the first contact was made. The description should be I don't know what that is. All right. Our default value is unchecked. And next. I want to make it read only, except for, again, that stupid standard user and admin. We'll create another field. So now what I don't like about this exercise, it implies that you would create an opportunity before you made the first contact. Well, it depends, right? It depends if you use leads or not. It depends on your sales process. This is critical. Your sales process may or may not use the lead object. A lot of people don't understand that. I'll use the lead object. I'll do videos on that later. But in this case, it looks like we're creating opportunities, and then like maybe this is a a very specific now I got to tell you for this, right? So go back. Not everybody uses leads. I know you didn't know that, but not everybody uses leads. Not everybody should use leads. If you do, great. All right, so we created the two fields. First contact was made, set up an appointment. So now the assumption is you made contact with that person at that company. Honestly, you should have a couple things, right? I would say the contact role is blank, and that would be my validation role. Like, no, can't make contact without a contact related to this opportunity. Simple data, good quality data. The other thing is, you would probably have an event scheduled. So I might, you know, in my process builder, I might use that information. I don't know if we're going to do it here, but let's see how this pans out. I don't know how this is written. We'll see. Now we can use these newly created fields to keep better track of the opportunity, because we want to know. Here's the thing. Think of the life cycle of an opportunity the same as an assembly line of a car. Certain materials start the process, and it's not appropriate to add other materials to that process until prerequisite work has been done. You wouldn't put the fenders and hood on before you put in the engine and transmission, right? So you can't put the tires on until you have the axle installed. Does that make sense? So it's important to think of it the same way, and know that you're going to collect data along the way, right? So, and this one's a pretty simple example, but I do think, if you think about what we're trying to do here, you could really make it easy for the rep to just work the opportunity, add the activities, and when those activities are added, save, create this process where lots of things are updated so the user doesn't have to. Okay, so that makes people's life easier. They like Salesforce better, and it's better for everybody. So now we want to do this when a record is changing versus some other platform event, or it's invoked by another process, right? So you can build processes to wait for some other process to call them into action, or some other platform event happens. We're going to do a record changes. Hit save. So we need to. I'm going to add the object. So we're doing this on the opportunity object. So it's going to only look at this process when a record is created or when it's saved in any way, shape, or form, created or edited, right? So in this case, think about what we're doing. When the opportunity got created, then saved, and then we made first contact, and then saved, and then we gather this information for the first. So it's going to be, you don't want to trigger it just when it's created. You should only trigger a process or a workflow rule when a record is created when you're using static information. That is, it's a big account. There's over 5,000 employees. Things that aren't going to change in the process, right? Then you can do it when the record's created. Or, a timer starts, like an escalation rule. You think about it like that. We got that. We're going to hit save. And that's my little screen, that little thing. And now we need to add the criteria. So we want the opportunity stage, prospecting. We're going to add a criteria, and we're going to call that the prospecting stage, right? So in this case, we want it to when the conditions are met. So we want the field that we're looking, the condition of a field is the stage field. Click that, hit choose. And we want it to equal the pick list value of prospecting, right? So that's the first criteria. So it's got to be in the prospecting stage. And we are going to add an action. So if it's in the prospecting stage, so we don't want to mess with other records in different stages. So it's only for records that we know we're prospecting right now. We're going to add an action. And we're going to update a record. So these are all my actions. And the action name is going to be opportunity stage update. Did I copy that? I did. And the record type is, which record are we updating? The opportunity that started the process or some other record related to the process. In this case, we want to update the opportunity that we're working on. So it's telling us where are we going with this field, where are we going to find the field update. So we're going to add the updated records meet all the conditions. So the first thing is the condition, and that is first contact made equals Boolean, which is true. So that checkbox will be checked. And additional meeting scheduled equals true. So that's my, whoops. And now I need to change the field. I want to change my pick list field my stage field to qualification. So now I've gone through and I'm telling, communicating, right? I'm communicating to my team and everybody else that, hey, I took this opportunity record from prospecting to qualification. Why is that important? Hold on. Let me activate this, confirm it, and then we'll verify it. Now we've done the dirty work, right? So let's verify that step. Now, why is that important? Look, you made your life easier. When they make the contact and they schedule that appointment, they click those 2 check boxes, boom, boom. It automatically updates the stage. Now, is that a lot of work? No, but it's 3 clicks, you saved them, right? And saving somebody 3 clicks is going to be a benefit. It's going to create brain candy. It's going to make them like Salesforce more. They're going to get it. Now, look, I'm sure they'd rather not even have to click those check boxes, right? I'm sure they'd rather that, oh, I logged the call, I created an event, that automatically triggers the update to qualification. And it updates those other 2 checkboxes. Wouldn't that be awesome? You could do that too. Why? Because it's Salesforce, and the answer is always yes. You could always do that. Okay? So let's see where I'm at with this badge. Did I complete it yet all the way or not? I did. All right, let's see what else I got. All right. So now we have another one to do on this one. Oh, it says 45 minutes left. You know what I'll do? I'll save this for the next Trailhead. And if you're doing 100 days of Trailhead and you have a question and you want me to do a particular trail, just email me to support@salesandtechnology.com, support@salesandtechnology.com, and I will be glad to do that trail for you. I'll announce it when I'll schedule it and announce it, and I'll even add you to that event so you can come and check it out with me. You can ask questions and do all the other kind of fun stuff. So if anybody's got any questions, comments, concerns, please put it in the comments. So let's see. I've got this. I'm going to go to my profile. Anyway, I'm going to go to my, just go to my profile. I got this trail tracker thing. Oh, here we go. That's me. Oh, I got one more super badge I'm working on. I'll work on that next. But here I'm going to push my badges to the, yes. And then when we come back, and then hit me up on the Trailblazer community, Dominic X. My trailblazer.me ID is Dominic X. All right, guys, it's been fun. Just for the record, I've been on here longer than an hour in Trailhead. And if you're not part of 100 days of Trailhead, then please get that going. So let's see. I did not create that. Let's see if it'll validate it again. Why do I want to validate? Because I want to tweak the Twitters. Because that's what we're doing here, you know? And then I'm going to go to my clipboard. All right, let me go put this to tweeters. There we go. Ta-da. Where's the rest of that? There's the rest of that book. Oh, yeah. All right. And I put it on YouTube, right? And let's see. Can I put it on YouTube? I'm going to do all this. Let's see. Copy all that. I don't know how to do all this social media stuff really well. I know I should know how to do it, but I don't. I don't do it a lot. I don't like social media. It's a very big distraction, but I want you to hire me. Whoops. Not going to do it. All right. So I'm not going to do it on chat. I guess I got to put it in the description. Pop out chat. There we go. Mer. Tweet that. Twitter went. I thought Twitter was 140 characters. I guess that's different. All right. So this will go there. All right, here we go. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to stop the share, and I'll put this in the description, I guess, somehow. We'll go from there. All right. Okay, I'm going to go stop on YouTube. Streaming.